I changed it again.
There we go.
Okay, yep. It's being recorded. There you go.
So, hi everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Astro Soup. Today we'll be talking about all the kinds of fun things that have been going on in this last week. But first, Andy and I decided we were going to have an earring face-off.
All right.
Let's see. Oh
I
my
brought
God.
I got my Scorpio earrings, and I also have skulls on my necklace. So
Well, it looks like baby heads.
they're doll head. They're baby doll heads, you know.
Oh, they're baby. I should have known you'd have some of those in your repertoire.
I can take them off if they traumatize you too much.
I'm not traumatized. I'm amused. It's just like yours are so much more scorpionic than mine.
That's right. You gotta. Tis the
So
season.
I don't think that either one of us wins. We just showed up and we were fabulous. How about that?
Why? I don't know who's the referee. Who's the judge? Who are the judges?
I am.
Oh, you're the judge. Okay.
Well, I don't know. We could open it up to the other people, but if you want to, you could post your choice in the chat window. Because we have lots to get together to get to. We have lots to get together, and I need to get something together. We have lots to get to today, and I thought it would be a good idea just to let you know what's featured in today's episode. Of course, first we're going to start with what's in the bowl, and then I think I've already forgot what the order is myself. I think then. So let's just look, because there's a lot to talk about in what's in the bowl this week, which is why I kind of got a little bit lost. So, and then I'm going to pull a color card because I do that every week. And then after that, I'm going to do a segment called This and That. And this week, I'm interviewing a friend of mine, Sandra Kunz, who's an artist, musician, writer, and and singer. Yeah, I'm sure I'd get them right sooner or later. And so we're going to be talking, she and I are going to be talking a little bit about passion, or a lot about passion, depending on your point of view. And then we'll be on to Lunar Rhythms because we've had a full moon, but it's still making its presence felt. So I kind of going to be talking about how it's mopping up and kind of trying to coalesce all the other things that have been going on this week. So, I want to say hi to Donna Quinn. Another astrologer. So anyway, so it really has been a weekend. We're not even finished. The last 3 or 4 days really intense, so much going on. First, we had happy little Mars decide to change signs and move into Sagittarius, which I don't know about the rest of you. I felt like, oh my God, like seriously, something that's not water? Because we have a lot of water energy right now. So there was a lightening of the load, a little bit more optimism. I personally felt that really a shot in the arm of energy. So because Mars in a fire sign cannot possibly be happier. I know it's connected to Scorpio, but it's like even Mars breathed a sigh of relief that it gets to hang out in a fire sign and do its wandering bit. So right after that, we had the full moon, and I will be talking a little bit more about that later. So that full moon was in Taurus, and so it gave us a little bit of an opportunity to get a little bit more grounded and feel a little less like we're constantly at sea. So this week has been a lot about, really strong energetic surges followed by feeling like it all dropped off a cliff, and all of a sudden all this internalizing energy, and to some degree that is connected to Venus going into Scorpio. So no sooner did we get Mars leave Scorpio and we went, oh well, everything isn't water, than Venus decided to let us know that we have more work to do when it comes to the Scorpio energy before the sun moves into Sagittarius, which right now might feel to a lot of you like that's a long ways away. Anyway, so again, that level of intensity, and we're not done. So right after this, guess what? Yeah, there's so much going. Mercury goes retrograde. It no sooner got into Sagittarius, and again, that lightening of the energy and the feeling like um, your cognitive, your rational brain still works. It isn't submerged in the ocean somewhere. So, but it's about to go retrograde. And so, and of course, I think that people spend too much time panicking over Mercury retrograde. Uh, it really is important to understand what the message is of when Mercury goes retrograde, because first of all, it doesn't go retrograde every year in the same sign. It goes retrograde 3 times a year, and usually it's year by year, it's a different element. And so when it goes retrograde in Sagittarius, the initial suggestion is to just slow your roll a little bit since Mars is there as well. And so they're gonna I think cozy up to each other one more time this year. But Mercury conjunct Mars in Sagittarius is a little bit different flavor than in Scorpio. You might find yourself debating more, and it could be as much an internal debate since Mercury will be retrograde when this happens. So there's a lot of going through what you think, why you think it, what's important to you, what has meaning for you. Because for me, Sagittarius is all about what is meaningful, not just what you think, because that's more Gemini. It's what's meaningful to you. And this period of Mercury retrograde, we're going to find some interesting applications of that a little bit later, starting about next week after Mercury goes retrograde, and then it backs up into Scorpio. But that's a little bit down the road. And right now I just want to focus on what's actually moving and shaking for the next 6 or 7 days. So and we're not finished yet because there's still more. Uranus is going to back up into Taurus. So we get one more kick at the can of looking at everything from finances to self-worth to what you value. And it's interesting that this is happening as we're in Scorpio, and then we'll be moving into Sagittarius, because there is a recalibration. Again, any planet that's retrograde is an internal energy. And we have a number of planets retrograde right now. And so Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, Mercury goes retrograde. There's a lot. So there's that whole sense of, it's like trying to get a car started and to keep flooding it. It's kind of like what it's like right now. So don't be concerned if you can't seem to get focused enough. It more is you really just have to ride the wave and trust your own inner knowing, because Scorpio is not about cognitive thought. It's about stuff that percolates from deep within. And of course, you can't always be in charge of what decides to surface. So that's another thing you need to keep in mind. So if things surface, do not resist them. Sometimes you don't have to do anything except let it surface. And so to round the week off, we have Jupiter on Remembrance Day goes retrograde in Cancer. So again, that pulling in energy, because Jupiter's in a water sign. Now, Cancer's one of its happy places. However, given all the water that we're dealing with, there's this constant search for where do I feel comfortable? Where do I feel safe? Because Cancer energy is always about, do I feel safe? Where am I secure? And so the connection with the sign of Scorpio is that there's a really, now here we get to something that we're going to be talking about a little bit more in episode 4, which is there's a really powerful creative energy alliance coming next week. So this is kind of like taking some time to breathe inwards instead of outwards and gather your resources, because you're going to be offered a huge creative invitation next week. What else did I want to say about that? That is a lot, because energy is moving outward with Mars in Sagittarius, and there's a feeling mentally that you're ready to move forward, and then Mercury's going to go retrograde, which goes, okay, well, maybe not now. So it doesn't mean that you abandon any of the creative ideas that you had during that period of time. It's just a sign from the universe that we're in an ebb situation. And so let that energy ebbing is only an internal thing. It's not we live in a society where we think that we always have to be engaged in forward motion. And life just, if as I'm looking outside today where I live, it snowed. So we're definitely, because where I live at 53 North latitude, winter doesn't wait for the solstice. It just doesn't. So again, the Earth here is signaling it's a time to go inward. So, Andy, anything you would like to add to my observations?
Well, I don't have any planetary information to add, but I do want to say that I really enjoy these horoscopes because, like, for example, as a working astrologer, I don't really have time to look into what the micro transits for the week. And so this has become my source for what's going on this week. And I think that, the astrologers at large will really like to know that about this part of the show because it's very helpful. I mean, now I know about Uranus going back into Taurus, which I hadn't really noticed. So I really, really appreciate it.
Honestly, I have to say that, when I started this podcast, before I started this, I didn't always pay attention to every day's transits myself, because you got to live your life. And so part of what the podcast is about is to give you a heads up of what the energy feels like. But of course, everybody's going to feel it and interpret it differently, because we're not all the same person. It's just when you have these overarching feelings, like with all this water, there's going to be all these plants and water signs. There's, really listen to your gut instinct, really just, otherwise, the more that you try to be logical about things. In other words, I can order this based on what my brain thinks is the order this should happen in, instead of realizing that you might start down that road only to discover, oh, something else is calling to me. So the more logical you try to be during this particular week, and specifically, the more likely it is you're going to feel exhausted, because it's not quite as bad as rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic, but sometimes it might feel like that you're stopping, starting. Today for me was a very good example. I woke up, I had a bunch of ideas, I wrote them all down, and then I fell asleep for a while. I slept a little bit longer than I intended. And so then it was like, pedal your bicycle as fast as you can. Good thing I have a lot of experience. So, yeah, so here's Mars. Here's the moon. So Mars and the moon are action-oriented, but for different reasons. The moon is about what's unfolding, within, and how it expresses itself outwardly. Mars doesn't have really a within. It really doesn't, especially when it's direct. It's like, and especially in a fire sign, it's like the need to try to escape all this water. But it's hard to escape what is the kind of energy that feels slow moving and all encompassing at times, and like some days like a tsunami. But this is all internal stuff. And how do you navigate that? Because the truth is, Scorpio is not really interested. It is mostly interested in what's within, and how it can excavate the things in life that it thinks are getting in its way. So then we had Venus. Then we had Mercury. Then we have Jupiter. No, Uranus, and then Jupiter. So if you start to even look at the number of symbols, which is why I wanted to use the cards, because talking about it isn't the same as getting a visual reference point to what we're talking about. And these are just the planets. I'm not even talking about the signs that they're in. And for anyone who's not an astrologer, you wouldn't understand the deeper complexity, which is what your birth chart would offer you. Anyway, so I think that that covers that. It's hard to cover so much activity in 1 week and give people some sense of what's going on without getting. It's. I want this to be an invitation, not a course in astrology. Anyway, so now every week I generally pick a color card because I love color. And coming up when we talk to Sandra, and she's going to show us an example of one of the paintings that she's currently working on. So color is one of her favorite subjects as well. As you can see that she painted what's behind her right there. Is that the sun or the moon, Sandra?
Great question. I'm gonna put my headset in here. I was just charging. You know what? It keeps vacillating. This wolf is on a journey.
I meant the sun behind you. Is that the sun or the moon behind you?
Oh, on the Raven?
Yeah. Oh, that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a moon. It's a moon. Mostly I do the moon. I'm
You're a
pretty
moon
connected to
child.
the moon. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so
Mostly.
so Sandra's coming up, and I'm just going to pick a color card, Sandra, and then I get to torture you.
Awesome. Let's do it.
So we're just picking a color card for this week. Oh,
Leslie,
I-
someone's here to see you.
so this is
Merlin!
came to visit me. Oh my God, I love that cat.
He had to bust in during the show. He was not, I did not let him in, but
Well, I know because he hasn't. You haven't let him come to visit me lately. That's not fair.
that's true.
Anyway, so the color
Pussins are
for this week
wonderful.
is chocolate. And it says, nourish your body and soul, which is really a lovely reminder for me that that is one of the gifts of so much water. Is it is really about nourishing your body and your soul. Especially, and now we get a picture of the cat's hind quarters, shall we say?
Merlin had to go.
Because he was just going to keep walking in front of your face no matter what you did.
Right. He kind of he loves Leslie a lot. Okay.
And Leslie loves him, and one of these days we'll meet. Anyway, so this is a reminder that we're supposed to be nourishing our body and our soul, and not necessarily our brain.
Pleasure.
So, I love that. So, okay, so now I really am going to torture.
That chocolate card really sounds like a.
So, and when I get myself together here, and we're going to figure out, we're going to, how do I, oh, move Andy to a different pew and move Sandra up so that I'm not looking up. Look over this way. And so now we can see that beautiful raven. Anyway, first of all, just a few words before I let Sandra talk.
Could I just mention something about the chocolate card? Because that really seems to reflect the full moon in Taurus that we just had too.
What a great, yeah. Thank you, Wendy. I really appreciate that.
Mm.
I have more to say about the full moon, but I like that. Maybe if they're connected, it's the only way that I stay grounded is by eating chocolate.
Mm.
So anyway, so last week I gave it, 4 little sentences: get down, get dirty, get free, get passionate. And that really started me thinking more about passion. And I've done a workshop in the past called Find Your Passion. And I really think that a life without some sort of passion, your passion can be anything. If your passion is golf, it doesn't really matter. It's something that speaks deep to who you are. And sometimes those passions don't always make sense to us. So when I was thinking about that, I really wanted Sandra to be my guest because Sandra, uh, just for those of you who are astrologically inclined, she's an Aquarius with a moon in Scorpio and Leo rising. So her life, because she's an Aquarius and all those other things, has never quite gone in a straight line. However, one of the things about Sandra is she has always followed her passion, even when she didn't know that's what she was doing. Would you say that was accurate, Sandra?
Oh, 100%. That sounds, you have nailed it, Leslie. You've nailed my life. Absolutely. Yeah,
Oh,
usually running blind. Just going with my intuition. It's like, hey, we're doing this now. I don't know why. Hey,
So,
go.
so why would you like to talk a little bit about the passions in your life because you have several?
Sure. Um, I started painting more or less full time. That would be about 2006, and then painted and painted and painted, and then oh no, it was 2000, yeah, 2006, and then it was about 2012. I'd been painting animal spirits up until that time, and 2012 was notified by the divine that I was actually creating an oracle deck with my animal spirit paintings. So those are called the messenger cards. I've been selling them ever since then. Um, and have been doing readings with them and continued painting. And then about 3 years ago, revisited my passion with music, and which I'd put on the back burner quite painfully. I didn't like having my music on the back burner, but that's a really long story. Um, and so picked that up again like about 4 years ago, and now I'm performing, and now bringing my art back in, and I'm bringing the two together. So seeing it as like more of a holistic experience where I'm writing music for my art or creating art for my music, and seeing it as like music being like time and art representing space. And I always paint and write about moon and being a moon in Scorpio. Like really my deepest my deepest healing, my deepest journey is what I'm really experiencing in my life, and I can't seem to be able to write about anything else, and it just seems to be the way of it. Um, so that's a lot of my music that I write is like that, and so yeah. So right now I'm just exploring bringing the two together, and also bringing my oracle cards and my writing into it as well. So we'll just see what happens there.
No, did you feel you were called to do these things? Like you said, you just get these. You feel like you're being called in a particular direction. What is that?
Yeah.
Because it's always interesting when you talk about that with people because they don't always know what you mean by that. So what does it mean to you to be called to do something?
It means I couldn't possibly do anything else. Um, and it just needs to come out of me. So it needs to come out of me, and I don't really feel like myself and if I'm not doing it. Um, and I'm so grateful that I have playing music again, because that was a really big piece of it for me. I know what it feels like now to not be doing what what you're called to do.
So you
Yeah.
said that you were, I know when you and I chatted beforehand, you talked about music being your path when you were younger. And can you remind me what it was that uh, brought that process uh, to a pause, not a close, obviously, but to a
Yeah.
pause?
Well, I was trying and trying, and I had debilitating stage fright, which I realized I had subconsciously created to keep myself safe because it wasn't safe to be a musician in my family, nor an artist, but the art came later anyway. So, but when I was younger, I was trying to be a musician, and uh, my parents just didn't know how to support me in that. They really had no, to them, being an artist or musician isn't real work. So it was either belong in my family or, and not be myself, or be myself and I don't know, like be out on my own, as I don't know, be out on my own. So it's pretty deep stuff. And so I had a lot to work through. So I created debilitating stage fright and tried and tried and tried to perform and just couldn't break through, couldn't break through. I didn't understand it. So yeah,
I get that.
yeah.
So, would you like to bring that happy little painting of the wolf a little closer so we could have a look at it?
Yes. Yes.
Then I'll get you to pick if you're comfortable, pick show off your deck and pick a
If I
card.
can. Here we go.
I don't think
And,
she heard you.
so I'm actually, I started him like, or her, it's a her, a couple of years ago, or no, 2024, February 2024 is when I started her, and she had quite a different moon. Um, and and then a couple months ago, I'm like, no, the background just isn't quite right. The moon wasn't quite right. It wasn't in balance. So I've been painting different backgrounds on ever since, and she's still in process. But Wolf is good. She's really constant, and she's solid. Somehow her surroundings are changing. So always symbolic of me and my journey for sure.
I was about to say, and the wolf is you. So
Yeah.
there you go.
The wolf is me.
Yeah.
Yeah, the wolf is me. So
Well,
that's where she's at.
that tells me that you'll be keeping that painting for the rest of your life and maybe continuing to change the background as your life changes.
Oh, maybe. Oh, I like that.
Because
Yeah,
I love
maybe.
that. And actually, I have to be honest, I have a couple of Sandra's paintings in my house. So she painted my spirit
Yay,
animal for me.
yay,
And
yay.
it's a cougar.
It's a cougar.
And
How did
she's
you,
beautiful.
oh,
What?
how did you two meet?
Wasn't it through someone, Leandra? Wasn't it through a friend, a mutual friend we have?
Yeah,
She used to have these holistic talk about holistic gatherings, and I think that's where we met. I don't, or
yeah,
it was some social situation,
yeah. It
and
was a yeah.
I was really fascinated by the whole. First of all, having a painting of my spirit animal was uh, really spoke to me, and so we did a trade, and um, yeah,
Yeah.
that's how
It
we met.
was
That's how we met, and of
that's
course,
right.
I didn't know she was an Aquarius. So then it turned out she had Leo rising, and for all the astrologers, and then it turned out she has Moon in Scorpio, and I have Moon opposed Pluto. So yeah, it was like this right from the moment
Mm,
that we met.
right. Exactly. What year was that? That would have been,
2014 or 15?
yeah, that's about right.
That sounds about right.
That sounds about
We're
right.
we're Aquarians. We're not very good at keeping track of time.
Nope.
No
Nope.
comments from the peanut gallery about that? So,
I totally get that. I know somebody with Aquarius Sun and Sag Ascendant and Leo Moon, and that person does not remember anything about the past, hardly at all. They're always asking me what happened and that sort of thing. Whereas I'm Scorpio Sun and I just I
have you
hang
had
on
your
to it all
birthday
for dear
yet,
life.
Wendy?
What's that?
Have you had your birthday yet?
Next week.
Really
Next week.
happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Happy birthday. So did you want me to pull a card? So this is my
Pull a card for this week. These
this
are
is
the message
my
cards.
book.
That's
That's the
nice.
book that comes with them. So I did all the artwork and all the writing and all the stuff. I get all the printing done myself and yeah. So I've had these for sale since 2012. So I'm pulling a card now for this week and just waiting for one. There we go. It's this one. Ooh, the Destiny of One. So spider,
Ooh.
go. Is that
Scorpio's a
backwards?
spider. A scorpion is part of the spider family.
Okay, so the Destiny of One,
This is just for
number
Wendy
20.
then, apparently.
What's this?
I said, this is just for Wendy, apparently.
Ah, it's
Not with
reading for
all that
you, Wendy.
Scorpio energy
Um,
hanging around these days.
wow.
Tell
I
us
like
what
when
Oh,
I like
Must
when
go
Wendy
around.
tells us what the cards mean to her. For me, that's really fun.
Oh my. I have to
lovely.
see it
Okay,
again.
you have to see
what
it
does it
again? Okay.
what does it say? I
Okay,
know
it
besides the
says,
destiny of what did you write about it?
okay, as I heal for everyone. When I am connected with the infinite essence within me, everyone and everything is affected as we are all connected. As we become more conscious, we can choose to believe in the magic of miracles or we can choose to believe in suffering. We have the choice in every situation to choose which road to take, and that is our free will. And free will can only be exercised consciously as we continually choose to allow miracles to enter our life instead of suffering. Our reality will change. It must. Love and trust hold a much different vibration than fear and doubt.
So sorry. Hang on.
Okay, the body of the spider is the symbol of infinity, and our spirit is infinite without a beginning or end, and our wholeness perfectly encompasses our light and shadow. The belief that the light and the shadow are separate creates the illusion of separation in our physical world, and the illusion of duality and separation is the root of all suffering. The web is a symbol of our connection to everyone, everything, and especially ourselves. Our highest service to others begins with our connection to the core of ourselves. The pure essence within us is the all-encompassing light of one. The living embodiment of the connection is our natural state of being. And when we live from this connection, we are the vibration of wholeness, compassion, and love, which heals the illusion of pain, duality, and suffering. So there's a question for you. What is being called to heal now for myself, those around me, and my ancestors? There you go.
Interesting. Well, the imagery, I love the imagery there of the spider, which we often look at as ooh, scary and dangerous and so on, and sometimes they are. But the web as well is, it goes out to everything and it all
Mm-hmm.
brings everything toward the center. And, perhaps we're being consumed by the universe, which can sometimes feel scary and sometimes it's just transformative one way or
Yeah.
another.
Both,
And yeah.
or it's
For
both.
me, what's that?
I said, or it's both, scary and transformative.
Definitely. For me, I think I'm being challenged lately to figure out how to stay in my power without needlessly overwhelming people who are very sensitive, um, and doing that without making myself smaller. Just perhaps quieter or
Can I
calmer.
make an observation?
Yeah. Go for it.
Since I have Pluto in my ascendant, I know what that feels like. I think I've come to the conclusion that as long as, when you're in your power, you're coming from a place of love and compassion. If other people are overwhelmed by you, that's really not your problem.
True. Thank you for that reminder about the love and
Well, I need
compassion.
to remind myself, so I totally, like what you described, I totally identify with it. So thank you so much for sharing.
Right. Yeah.
I really
You can read
appreciate
the
In
that.
this case,
48
it
Laws
was,
of Power. It's a really good book.
ooh, what's it
Oh,
called?
show it again. I can't see it.
48 Laws of Power.
Oh,
48,
who's that by?
48 laws of power. Gee, that's too many.
Not for a Scorpio.
Oh, well, okay. You have a point there.
Huh. 48 laws of
So
power.
I'm going to ask, Andy, do you want to put that in the chat window for other people? Because, the unfortunate part is that when you're up there, nobody can see you.
Sure, I will.
And I realized that if we're doing, I hadn't anticipated this, so my apologies, that if we started a conversation, I should have made us all the same size, which I didn't do, because,
That's okay.
technology is not my
And
thing.
learn, Leslie.
Can I say something? Oh.
She can.
Ooh, yay.
I wanted to say something about power, and I think we have beliefs about power somehow, and if we're in our power, that it's somehow a bad thing. And so maybe just all of us like looking at what our beliefs about coming into our power is, or our power, and the beliefs we hold about it. And if we think it's overpowering, it's going to be overpowering. But
Well,
it doesn't have to. But it doesn't have to be. I mean, and yeah, how other people perceive it is their thing. But how we perceive our power is huge,
well,
right?
yeah, no, absolutely. I think that,
Sorry.
I've had people say to me, people are intimidated by you, and of course that always shocks me. It shocks me. It doesn't matter how old I get, and somebody says that to me,
Right.
like what?
Mm.
And so it's hard when you get messages about essentially being yourself, because you came in with the complexities that you came in with.
Thanks.
And trying to navigate that and still be yourself is part of the challenge that I think probably every human faces to one degree or another. I somewhere got lost in that, but that's okay. I'm working on my part of me that thinks I need to be perfect in every minute of every day. And he's helping me remediate that.
In my case, the situation came up with a longtime, very dear friend, and there seems to be some tension between us. And she's a very sensitive soul, and I can come on very direct and kind of blunt sometimes, and so I think that I overwhelm her sometimes, and so I can't just go, well, if she doesn't like it, then too bad, because I want to keep that friendship going if I can. And so we're, from my perspective, we're just going to have to work through that one little baby step at a time and see where it leads. So.
Fair enough.
So I had hoped that Sandra would be able to sing for us, but we're not sure how the sound is going to work out. So, yeah. So, Sandra, did you want to put in the chat window the links to your YouTube channel, or Sandra has a YouTube channel,
Yes.
and
I
it's
don't know
called,
how to.
okay, and I'm just going to say it's called Stroke of Soul. That's StrokeofSoul. It's on YouTube. She also obviously has a Facebook page under her own name, Sandra Kunz, Kunz, And you can check out her wonderful, wonderful voice. And like it blew me away. I mean, when I met Sandra, I did not know that she was also a musician and a singer. So when I sort of like, this is how the universe kind of works, at least in my world. About a couple of years ago, she suddenly popped into my head because we hadn't been in contact for a while. So I started, sort of following what she was doing on Facebook, and that's when I found out that she was a musician and a singer as well as an artist and a writer. So, um, the truth is we're all creative beings, and passion is definitely connected to. I really wish those weren't keep popping up in front of my face, but whatever. Um, the creativity and passion are so directly connected to each other. And we always think of creativity in very limited terms. So, for instance, my therapist, her happy place is playing with fabric. And she says, but I don't make quilts like everybody else does. I said, well, that's because you're an Aquarian, so you're not likely to. But again, what brings you joy? Because passion and joy are really connected. And when we get too caught up and don't make space for those parts of ourselves, and we've all been there. I wish I could say that I've lived my whole life in touch with my creativity. Heck, when I was a kid, I didn't think there was anything creative about me. So there you go.
Right.
Anyway, maybe it's time to, I'm going to unpin. Thank you so much, Sandra, for joining us.
Thank you, Leslie, for
It's so much
having
fun
me.
to hang out with you. That's really what this
Yeah.
is. And yeah, I love when I do my podcast and it turns into a hangout.
Exactly. And I can't figure out how to enter the chat. I will keep trying. Am I still
You
on
can
the?
just email me the information because I'll send it out in my email blast and I'll post it on my Facebook page too.
And we can put
Okay,
it in the verbiage below of this video as well.
that would be amazing. Okay,
Well,
there we go.
that's Andy's
Because
job. That's not my job.
what's probably is best, just go to my website, strokeofsoul.com, and then from there you can go to my YouTube and my
Everything else.
Instagram. Yeah, and you can see more what I do on my website. That's probably the easiest way to go. So,
Yay.
okay. Yay, thanks a lot, Leslie.
Thank you for showing up and entertaining us and more in the future when we get the technical side more sophisticated. I'm going to have you
Yes.
back on so you can sing.
Okay. It's a deal. That's a deal. Okay.
All right. Wow, I did that without really hurting myself. No.
So is Sandra going to sing tonight?
No, because her sound is she's having audio problems
Okay.
with her technology.
That's too bad. I'm looking
We
forward to
did
that.
meet, and try to figure out if we could do it ahead of time, but it just wasn't meant to be. And thank you so much for sharing that card. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
So what did I threaten to talk about next? I think it was Lunar Rhythms. Let me investigate what I wrote down on this piece of paper. Yeah, I've got everything stuck to everything. I have papers, I have post-it notes. I have lots. Anyway, yeah, so this full moon was quite frankly something else. Oh, and I did want to say one other thing about the Mercury retrograde. I thought it. I confuse myself all the time. My apologies. So, that Mercury retrograde is in this instance, because it's in Scorpio, I called it, when it moves into Scorpio, it's going to be like unfinished excavation. So, because Scorpio is always about digging deep. So, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in episode 4, I looked at my notes and realized I got things confused. But I did want to say a little bit about, the interplay between Mercury and Sag and Mercury and Scorpio. And it's always interesting to move into Sag, to start to collect meaning, to start to rethink what your focus is before it went retrograde. And then it's like you just entered new territory, because the first 4, 5, 6 degrees of a sign, it's like, oh, I'm in a new place. What does it look like? How do I feel about it? So there's that need to expand your thinking and to engage in the outer world, because the fire signs, that's what they do. And then all of a sudden it's going to back up into Scorpio. So there's going to be a bit of a lurch as we move backwards, and not move backwards literally, but it is more like moving internally, as if, because there's unfinished Scorpio business, which I'll be talking about in episode 4. And how does that connect to the full moon that we've just gone through? Well, that full moon in Taurus allowed us the opportunity to get grounded, and not I don't know what I did with all my notes. Like I told you, I have so many notes, and then I don't know what I did with them all. So, yeah, the full moon was like mopping up the mess, because water can create a lot of mess. Just think about your basement flooding and things like that. Like I know a couple of people whose basements flooded, and what I've wanted to say was, okay, so what really needs clearing out in your life? Because water does dissolve things. Like it's funny, because we need water to exist. Our bodies are I can't remember what the percentage is, 98% water. And yet when we have a lot of water energy, as we do now, especially in a society whose focus is pretty much fire and air, with a little bit of earth thrown in, but not too much water. And what do I mean by that? Our feeling, sensing, and emotional natures. I really believe that life is a feeling experience, not a thinking experience. Thinking thoughts essentially emerge from what we feel, even though we don't always see it that way. And this is what the water signs are here to tell us. However, we live in a culture where feeling, sensing, and emotion are inconvenient. They're not solid. You can't measure them. And so having this period of so much water can feel like you're being inundated, and it's hard to find a way to swim to the surface. It's almost like, jumping into the ocean without a life preserver. That's how it can feel some days of the week. And it's hard for us to let go and just accept that, like if you're in a pool, your body will naturally float. The only question, that's going to make some reference to, the only question is, where's your head? Is it underwater?
It's right here.
Is your head underwater?
It's on my earring.
Okay, so now you get to share your thoughts on this.
On the full moon?
Well, yeah, just how, we're living with so much water, and that full moon was meant to give us an anchor and a way to ground ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like if I take so I got my rooms of planetary energy here. And so here's the Scorpio room, which is the sun in Scorpio. It's kind of dark and deep and very feelings based, kind of haunty. But then the Taurus moon feel is more like this, which is very natural and soothing and peaceful. And so it definitely grounds us from this kind of deep, watery feelings vibe to a more peaceful, that was a very, I guess, anchoring, like you say, moment in the Scorpio sun cycle. We could say the opposition of values there is like depth versus peace. It's like so
About how do you manifest it? Like Earth is really about physically manifesting things.
nice.
So how do you take all? Thank you for that, because I hadn't looked at it that way. So how do you take all that you're feeling and do something practical with it, something grounding. And of course, then, we have we have two plants in fire, and they don't do well with all that water energy. So and of course this year, because we have so many plants in water, well, the sun is in Scorpio, that full moon in Taurus becomes even more important, just in order to give us a feeling that we're not going to be swept away completely, that it can I should feel like less like we're dealing with a tsunami and more like we're riding a wave. And that's one of the analogies that I've been using this year about riding waves. Sometimes it's a wave of water, sometimes it's a wave of air. There's been so much intensity this year, and it doesn't look like it's likely to let up. And of course, part of the challenge right now is we have all this water, but Pluto, which is one of the rulers of Scorpio in my happy astrology world, is in an air sign. So how do we shake this up? How do you take all of that stuff that you excavate and come up, that surfaces? How do you take that and create change in your life? Be open to change. Because, we often think that because change and chaos are similar, and we often think that they're terrible things, that we should, and this is where the moon in Taurus, comes in handy to ground us, but it's not about staying in the same old place you've always been in. So how do you balance that need for structure and for stability with the need to transform your life?
May I mention something else on the chart of the full moon that just accentuates what you're saying, especially about cleaning up the mess and what needs to be pulled out of the way. The moon is very tightly parallel with Uranus, which really makes a lot of sense. So, in order to be comfortable, what needs to be pulled apart or, shoved away or rearranged or reorganized or something like that in order to get to that place.
Well, I really appreciate that. And I realize, wow, like this has been a great episode. We've done a lot of hanging out and sharing ideas and thoughts, and I appreciate that, except that, as I said before, Andy and I have to do another episode, and we're running out of time. So I always end with what I call wrap it up. And it's always a quote that either makes me laugh or whatever. So this one comes from Peanuts, the cartoon by Charles Schulz. In the book of life, the answers are not in the back. And guess who said that? Charlie Brown. Can you believe that? Anyway. So anyway, thanks again, everybody, for joining me today. And it's been fabulous. It's been so much fun. And God knows I like that.
Thank you. This has been great. I really got a lot out of this one. I really got a lot.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, I'm finally finding my groove, Wendy. Finally finding my groove. So, anyways, until next time, be true to yourself.
Absolutely. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.